Hello everyone. So we have been completing so many things in this chapter, the cell, the unit of life. So today we will be discussing about the very important organelle of the cell, and that organelle of the cell is called nucleus. Is called nucleus. So you people know that nucleus plays very important role in case of cell. In cell, what is very much important is nucleus. You can call it as the brain of the cell or the heart of the cell, okay? It performs so many functions. So it's very important for us to understand about nucleus. The first thing what we need to remember here is who discovered nucleus. So we should know who discovered the nucleus. So discovery was done by, you people know very well who was that scientist, and that scientist was, it was Robert Brown. So who was the scientist who discovered nucleus? It was Robert Brown. So Robert Brown for the first time, discovered nucleus, and where he discovered it? From which cell? From orchid root cell. From the root cell of orchid, actually Robert Brown discovered nucleus. Then, okay, so nucleus at least he discovered. Then we need to understand whether nucleus is so important for the cell. For what reason, what it plays, what is its function, and what it is made up of. All these things plays very important role, right? So one by one we will be dealing with that. Okay, now, so this is done. We understood who discovered the nucleus. It was Robert Brown, and in which cell he discovered it? He discovered nucleus in orchid root cell. Okay, now the next thing. Yes, nucleus, where it is found, whether it is found in prokaryotic cell, whether it is found in eukaryotic cell, that is the question, right? So, when you consider both of these cells like prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell, see where it is present, whether in prokaryotic cell or eukaryotic cell. So here you should be very much clear about this thing, because prokaryotic cell, pro means what? Primitive. Karyon means what? Nucleus. So prokaryotic cell will have primitive nucleus. That is why it is not included in eukaryotic cell. That means not only this primitive nucleus, it is not having any membrane bound organelles also. Now in prokaryotic cell, if you see, for example, if this is a prokaryotic cell, let us consider this is a bacteria. Okay, now you will find that the DNA is present like this. The circular DNA is present in the center or somewhere in the cell. And when you consider this eukaryotic cell, it can be animal or plant cell, you will find it, the nucleus is present at the center. This is the nucleus. Here you will not find any region like that. Inside the nucleus here, inside the nucleus, you will find this genetic material in the eukaryotic cell. That means it is nothing but the DNA. That DNA is, you will find it inside the nucleus. It is present inside the nucleus here in eukaryotic cell. Whereas in prokaryotic cell, there is no particular nucleus here. You can see that DNA is present in some of the region here. And this region, we will not call it as nucleus. Instead, we will call it as nucleoid region. Nucleoid region. It is not having any particular membrane here. Like this, what it has this particular membrane here. Whereas here, there is no membrane. Only you will find DNA, it is somewhere located in the cell. So where you will find this circular DNA, larger circular DNA, that region is called nucleoid region, but it is not called as nucleus. Here it is called as nucleus. So where nucleus is present? Obviously nucleus is present in eukaryotic cell and it is absent in prokaryotic cell. Instead of nucleus, what is present here is nucleoid region, which is not nucleus. It's not at all nucleus. It's quite similar to nucleus, but it is not nucleus. Is this clear? I hope this much is clear for you. Okay, next. So I hope this is clear. So where is nucleus? Nucleus is found in eukaryotic cell and it is not found in prokaryotic cell. That is why prokaryotic cell, it is differentiated from eukaryotic cell. For these of the, one of the reason is nucleus also. Now coming to next question. Do every cell have nucleus? This is the question. Do every cell have nucleus? Yes, every cell will have nucleus. There is no cell which doesn't have nucleus? See the example. There are examples wherein some of the cells will not have nucleus. For example, mature RBC cells. It's RBC, not RCB, okay? Mature RBC cells and mature sieve cells or sieve tubes. Yes? So mature RBC cells, where you will find it? Mature RBC cells, they are found in mammalian cells. And what about mature sieve tubes? See, they are found in mammals. And these are found in what? They are found in plants. So these things will not have nucleus. Then what do you consider them? Do you consider them living cells or non-living cells? That is a different question. But the question now is, why they don't have nucleus? And without nucleus also they are able to function. Why? That means why they don't have nucleus? See, mature RBC cells, they are called as red blood cells. Now this RBC cells, they are biconcave in shape, and if this is RBC, then their main function, they have hemoglobin. What is their main function? Main function is to carry what? To carry oxygen. What they do is they carry what? They carry oxygen. Now if they have, for example, if you see here, if they have this nucleus and all other organelles, if nucleus is present like this in the center, then they cannot carry more oxygen. That is why these mature RBC cells will not have nucleus, so that they can carry sufficient what? They can carry sufficient oxygen. For this reason, mature RBC cells will not have nucleus. That means when RBCs have been produced, during that time nucleus will be there. But as they go on maturing, that time nucleus is removed out completely. Why? For the sake of carrying of oxygen. Same thing with this also, mature sieve tubes. Sieve tubes are found in plants. Which plants? They are not found in every plant. They are found in vascular plants. Vascular plants. What is the function of vascular plants? Vascular plants helps in what? Conducting food. In case of phloem, they are found in phloem, right? They are helping in conducting food material. Already we have discussed about this also. Now, when they are conducting food, if they have this nucleus, sufficient amount of food cannot be transported to other part of the plant. That is why nucleus will be removed from the mature sieve tubes also. So here it can be quite confusing for you, because in exam they will not ask directly like which cells don't have. Sometimes they'll be asking like, does mature RBCs have nucleus or no? Or the primitive, early production, the young RBCs, do they have nucleus or no? Like this type of questions you should be very much aware about. So what to be answered? So mature RBC and mature sieve tubes doesn't have nucleus, because in order to, efficiency of their function, for the sake of efficiency of their function, they don't have nucleus in them. RBC at least, they don't have nucleus, they don't have endoplasmic reticulum, they don't have mitochondria also. Already we have discussed about these things. Do you remember? What is the next question then? Now, okay, next question will be, how many nuclei in a cell? Now, how many nucleus will be there in a cell? How many nucleus in a cell? Now, do every cell have one nucleus, or cells will have more than one nucleus? Based on that also we can differentiate cells. Okay, now for example, if a cell has one nucleus only, then what do we name it? We name it as uninucleate. What do we name it as? We name it as uninucleate. Means the cell which has only one nucleus, we will call it as uninucleate. For example, if cell has two nucleus, if a cell has two nucleus, then what? Obviously the name will be, yes, it's binucleate. Then if more than two, if many nucleus are there, then if many nucleus in a cell, if a cell has many nucleus, then we will call it as multinucleate cells. We will call it as multinucleate cells. So what you can see here is that based on number of nucleus, cells can be what differentiated into uninucleate cell, binucleate cell and multinucleate cells. So now we will have to study the examples also. Okay. So for uninucleate, if you see some of the plant cells will be uninucleate. Many. Now in binucleate, example is paramecium. Paramecium, if you see, paramecium, it shows in its body it has two nucleus for its function. In case of multinucleate, some example will be algae, some of the algae and fungi. Some of the fungi and algae, if you see, they are actually multinucleate. Their cells will have many nucleus. I hope you people understood this. Okay, now in case of even mammals also, now in case of muscle cells and all, many nucleus are there. So to understand why so many nucleus are there in a cell, why is that so? To understand that, I'll show you how exactly many nucleus are formed in a particular cell. So let us see that. Okay, now see what will happen is in case of fungus, if you see, usually the bread molds, what you can see is that, usually let us consider this is the cell. These are cells like this. These are cells like this. Okay. Then each cell will have nucleus. I will make it a little bit bigger so that you will understand it clearly. So what I am showing now, I am showing you how a cell will have many nucleus. Now if you consider what are these? These are what? These are cells. And what about the internal things what you have here? These are nucleus, right? Each cell is having one nucleus. Sometimes what will happen is that these cells fuse together. What will happen here? What you can see is they fuse together like this. They will, the walls of the cells, they get dissolved, okay? Or they get merged. And then you can see that now these are not different cells now. Completely you will find this is what? This is completely one cell. And it is having what? Not nucleus now. It is having many nuclei. So this is how actually cell will have many nucleus. That is because of cell fusions. Fusion of cells. Fusion of cells, because of that, what will happen? The walls of the cells will be dissolved so that many nucleus togetherly you will be able to find it. These type of cell, okay, which has many nucleus, we call this cell as syncytial cell. So please remember, question might come, what are syncytial cells? Syncytial cells are those cells which have single cell which have many nucleus. In case of some algae, in case of some even human mammalian cells also, we will have the syncytial cells in case of muscles. Okay, so please remember this. This is also very much important. This is how syncytial cells are formed because of fusion of different cells or many cells. Then next question. So I think this much is clear now. Now the next question is position of a cell. Next question is position of cell. Position of nucleus. Position of nucleus, not cell, it is position of nucleus. Now whenever you see a cell, where do you find the nucleus? Now whenever you see a cell, we will find nucleus at the center. For example, if this is a cell, usually you will find nucleus at the center like this. Right? Usually we find it in the center. But when you consider plant cell and animal cell togetherly, position differs. Position differs. We will see that. Okay. The position of nucleus. In case of plant cell, if you see, in case of plant cell and in case of animal cell. See, what will happen here is that you might have observed this onion peel. Onion peel, have you observed in the microscope how you will be able to see it? You will find this type of cells there, somewhat like this. Not exactly like this, but somewhat like this. And you will see that it has a central structure like this. And then you will find somewhere here or somewhere at the peripheral region, you will find this nucleus. In case of plant cell. In case of animal cell, if you see animal cell, you will be able to see if this is a cell, for example. If this is a cell, for example, you will find nucleus like this at the center. In case of animal cell. So what is the difference here? The position of nucleus, if you see, in animal cell you will see nucleus at the center, and in plant cell you are able to see that nucleus is pushed towards the peripheral region, towards the wall region, right? Now what is the reason for this? What you can see here, this is not nucleus. Usually students will get confused whenever they see plant cell. They think the central thing is nucleus. No, it's not nucleus. It is called vacuole. What it is called? Vacuole. Now you know why plants will have such a large vacuole. For what function they have such a large vacuole? So this vacuole function is more in case of plant cells. That is why it has large vacuole. And that large vacuole actually, it is fit into the center region. And that is why the nucleus is pushed towards the peripheral region in case of plant cells. In case of animal cells, there are vacuoles present, but their function is not complicative compared to plants. So they have vacuoles which are very smaller, not larger as plant cells. So they have their nucleus at the center. Understood? So position of nucleus, if it is center, it is an animal cell. If it is at the periphery, then obviously that cell is plant cell. I hope I made this much clear. Next. Okay, position of nucleus is clear. Now, we are going to see overview of nucleus. What we'll see now? We'll see overview of nucleus. Now, for example, if this is a cell, you will find nucleus somewhere here. You'll be able to see nucleus somewhere here. Now, how you will be able to see this nucleus? You will find that this nucleus, it's made up of membrane. This nucleus is made up of membrane like this. Like this, okay? This is the membrane of the nucleus. Now, what you find inside this nucleus? You will find some fluid inside the nucleus. You will find some fluid inside the nucleus. And there is one more peculiar thing in the nucleus you will find. And that thing is that you will find some dense granular region like this. Like this, right? And what do we name it? We call it as nucleolus. So what is this? This is nucleus, right? Center of the cell in case of animal cell. Then what do you find this structure? This is called nucleolus. What do you call it as? We call it as nucleolus. Now what is this thing? These are double membrane structures, right? So nucleus is having membrane. That's what you should understand. That is why prokaryotic cell do not have nucleus, because prokaryotic cell will not have any membrane bound organelle. Now this nucleus is having membrane, so it is not present in prokaryotic cell. So here you can see this is nuclear envelope. We call it as nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane. or you can also call it as nuclear envelope. We will be discussing about these things in detail, but this is just an overview. Okay, and then you will find some liquid structure inside the nucleus, and we call this as nucleoplasm. What do we call it as? Nucleoplasm. This is very much important again. So here if you see, this is cell, this is nucleus. Cell also will have a liquid material, jelly-like material, and what is that called? That is called cytoplasm. The liquid-like material which is present in the cell is cytoplasm. Now the liquid-like material which is present inside the nucleus is called nucleoplasm. So nucleoplasm along with cytoplasm, we call it as protoplasm. That is a different thing. Here we are going to talk about nucleus, so we have to give more attention to nucleoplasm. Clear? So these are the things usually when you see, you will find these of the things. Then only this much you will find or anything else. Remember, attached to this outer membrane of the nucleus, we will be having these type of structures. Yes, we will be having these type of structures. What are these? We have seen this type of structures, and yes, they are always attached. They are always attached to what? The outer membrane of the nucleus. Then what are these? We call them as endoplasmic reticulum. We call them as endoplasmic reticulum. Even this is endoplasmic reticulum, even this is endoplasmic reticulum. Now, for even this is endoplasmic reticulum. ER, I will write it in the short form, ER. Now, if this endoplasmic reticulum is having ribosomes on its surface, then what do we call it? What do we call it if it has ribosome on the surface? Then we call it as rough endoplasmic reticulum, right? So along with nucleus, always we will find one organelle which is connected to nucleus. So this is endoplasmic reticulum. If it has ribosome on it, then we call it as rough endoplasmic reticulum. Even this is an endoplasmic reticulum I told, then it is not having ribosome. So we will call it as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Understood? Okay. Along with this, what we will find? We will find ribosomes on the surface. The outer membrane of the nucleus will have ribosomes also. Okay? Sometimes ribosomes are also found on the surface of the nuclear membrane. Now there was one question, there was one doubt asked by one of the student. He was asking, ma'am, how many ribosomes will be there on the nuclear membrane? Yeah, good question. But it is not particular number here. So it can have many, it can have less. It depends upon how many ribosomes are present or how many ribosomes are produced. Okay, there is no particular number for that. But just you have to remember that nuclear membrane is continuous with what? It is continuous with another organelle, that is endoplasmic reticulum, and it is continuous with what? Ribosomes as well. Okay. So this much is there, and then we are going to study about everything in detail. About the structure of nucleus, we are going to study it in details, but this is just what you can say, it is overview of nucleus. It is just overview of nucleus. We have done just overview of nucleus, like where it is present, what is associated with it, all these things. So we will be studying this in detail in the next video. Thank you.